My name is Serena Calloway. I'm 28 years old. And on Thanksgiving morning, the 27th of November 2025, a semi-truck ran a red light outside Knoxville, Tennessee, and crushed the driver's side of my car while I was on my way to a family dinner I never should have agreed to attend. 3 broken ribs, a punctured lung, internal bleeding. The ER doctor at University of Tennessee Medical Center called my parents from my emergency contact list and put them on speakerphone. Through the morphine, I heard his voice tight and urgent. Your daughter needs emergency surgery. She's critical. Can you come? My mother's voice came through, clear as ice. We'll come if it gets worse. We have 14 people arriving at 5 o'clock. It's Thanksgiving, doctor. The doctor stood there with the phone still in his hand. Silent. I remember thinking, so this is what dying alone feels like. 21 hours later, I woke up in the ICU. Surgery done. Room empty. No flowers. No cards. No family. Just a quiet woman from the billing department standing beside my bed, holding a small wooden box tied with brown string. A gentleman paid your entire bill, she said softly. He left this for you. He said not to open it until you get home. I didn't know who he was, but what I found inside that box would prove that I had never been alone at all and that my own parents had spent 15 years making sure I believed I was. Before I go any further, if this story is already hitting something real inside you, please like and subscribe. Only if it genuinely resonates. And drop a comment telling me where you're watching from and what time it is there right now. I read every single one. Every single one. Now let me take you back to the beginning. I'm a registered nurse at Children's National Hospital in Washington, D.C. Pediatric ICU. Night shift. 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. I take care of children who've just come out of surgery. Children who are too sick to be anywhere else. Children whose parents sometimes can't stay the night because of work or distance or 100 other impossible reasons. So I stay. I read to them. I hold their hands. I make sure they don't wake up in the dark alone. I've done this for 4 years. I live in a 1-bedroom apartment in Silver Spring, Maryland. I make around $82,000 a year before taxes, which sounds comfortable until you subtract rent, student loan payments, groceries, and the $430 a month I'd been sending my parents every single month since 2019. For a loan, they said. Family takes care of each other, my father said. I'll get back to that. My younger sister Brielle is different. She's 24, works in brand strategy at a firm in Charlotte, North Carolina. Beautiful house. Wonderful husband. Healthy baby girl. My parents, Raymond and Diane Calloway, live in Asheville in a 4-bedroom home with a mountain view they never stop reminding you about. And for as long as I can remember, Brielle has been the daughter who did everything right, and I've been the one who couldn't quite measure up. Brielle got married at 22. I'm 28 and single. Brielle gave them a granddaughter. I give them worry. Brielle lives 40 minutes away. I'm 7 hours north. At Thanksgiving 2023, the last time I'd gone home, my mother spent 15 minutes talking about Brielle's promotion, and another 10 about how advanced the baby was. She never asked about my patients once. When my father mentioned my job, it was only to compare. Brielle is building something, he said, cutting his ham with precise, deliberate strokes. What you do is admirable, Serena. But there's a difference between maintenance and ambition. I save children's lives, I said quietly. He looked at me the way you look at someone who simply doesn't understand how the world works. Sure. But Brielle is building a career. I told myself I'd never go back. But something stubborn and stupid and hopeful in me tried one more time this year. That was my mistake. What I never told anyone was the pattern that started when I was 13. I came home from school, bent double with pain on my right side. I told my mother something was seriously wrong. You're being dramatic, she said, not looking up. It's cramps. Take Advil. Brielle never complains like this. 6 hours later, my appendix ruptured. Emergency surgery at midnight. When my parents finally arrived at the hospital, my father's first words were, "Why didn't you tell us it was serious?" I was 13. Still foggy from anesthesia. I did tell you. You should have been clearer. We're not mind readers, my mother said. They never apologized. They made it my fault for poor communication. It happened again when I was 20. A migraine so severe I couldn't see straight. Vomiting. Light like needles. I called my mother from my college dorm. Serena, you're stressed about exams. Everyone gets headaches. Don't waste money on urgent care. I drove myself. Severe migraine with dehydration. IV fluids. A shot for nausea. The bill was $310. I paid it from my campus job savings and never said a word. By my mid-20s I'd learned. Don't tell them when you're hurt. Because every time I did, they found a way to make it my fault. So when that ER doctor called from Knoxville and said the word critical, they didn't believe him. They'd spent 15 years training themselves not to. There was one more thing they'd trained me not to talk about. My grandfather, Harold Calloway, died 3 years ago, November 2022. I didn't know he was sick. I didn't know he was in hospice. I wasn't told about the funeral until it had already happened. You were so busy with work, honey, my mother said. We didn't want to burden you. He disappeared from my life when I was 12. I'd see him at holidays and birthdays and school events, and then one day, he simply wasn't there anymore. I asked my father where Grandpa Harold was. He doesn't respect our family's boundaries, my father said. He's not welcome here. I was 12. I thought I'd done something wrong. I convinced myself he'd moved on, forgotten about me. It hurt the way childhood hurts, quietly, deeply, in a place you learn to stop pressing. What I didn't know, what I wouldn't learn for 15 more years, was that Harold Calloway never forgot. He never stopped trying. The morning of the 27th of November 2025, I left my apartment at 10:40 a.m. The drive from Silver Spring to Asheville is about 7 hours. I'd booked a couple of days off, packed pie from a bakery near my apartment. My mother had texted at 9:58 a.m. What time are you getting here? Don't forget dessert. No drive safe. Just logistics. I merged onto I-81 South just past noon. At 2:14 p.m. Just outside Knoxville, a semi-truck came through a junction without stopping. I saw it in my peripheral vision. Big, fast, no time. The impact spun my car across 2 lanes. The airbag deployed. Glass everywhere. Then the pain, sharp, stabbing. Every breath like something tearing inside my chest. A state trooper was there within minutes. Ma'am, can you hear me? Don't move. Ambulance is on the way. The last thing I remember clearly was my phone lit up on the passenger seat. A text from my mother. Traffic bad? Turkey's going in soon. Then everything went black. I woke up in the ER at University of Tennessee Medical Center. Serena, I'm Dr. Angela Forsyth. You were in a serious accident. 3 broken ribs, a punctured lung, internal bleeding. We need to operate now. Through the morphine, I heard her calling my parents. Speakerphone. My father's voice. How serious is this? Is she going to die? Sir, she's critical. Without surgery, doctor. My daughter has a history of catastrophizing medical situations. We've been through this before. We have 14 people coming for dinner at 5. If she's actually in danger of dying, call us back. My mother's voice in the background. Raymond, tell her we'll come if it gets worse. We cannot cancel Thanksgiving over this. Dr. Forsyth's voice went very still. Mr. Calloway, your daughter has nearly a liter of blood in her chest cavity. Her lung is partially collapsed. I am not describing a minor situation. A pause. We appreciate the call, doctor. Keep us updated. She hung up. I watched her stand there for a moment. Then she set the phone down carefully, like she was afraid of what she might do if she wasn't careful. They wheeled me into surgery at 3:22 p.m. I got to 7, counting backward. I remember thinking, if I die on this table, will they even leave the dinner table? I woke up 21 hours later. The surgery had taken just over 4 hours. Repaired lung. Drained chest. Stitched internal damage. The room was empty. The visitor log at the foot of my bed had my name at the top and blank lines underneath. Not a single name. My phone had 4 missed calls. All from Brielle. Hey, are you still coming? Mom's asking about dessert. Okay, so you're not coming. Call when you can. Serena, Mom is upset. Can you at least text her? Seriously, what's going on? A nurse named Patricia came in, checked my vitals, saw the visitor log. Her smile didn't quite reach her eyes. Is there anyone you'd like me to call, honey? I shook my head. On the second day, a woman from billing came to my room. Tired eyes, kind face. Miss Calloway, your bill has been taken care of. A man came Thursday evening. Well-dressed. Silver hair. Black jacket. He paid in full. $108,750. Bank check. Cleared this morning. He left this for you. She held out a small walnut box, maybe 8 inches wide, tied with brown string. Heavier than it looked. A white card was tucked under the string. Handwritten. Don't open until you're home. You are not alone. H. Y. Huff. Harold. I held that box for the rest of my stay. It was the only warm thing in that room. I was discharged December 1st. Rideshare back to Silver Spring. 4 flights of stairs. One hand on the railing. The box under my other arm. Every breath a quiet negotiation with the pain. I put the box on my kitchen table and didn't open it for 2 weeks. Not because I wasn't curious. Because I was afraid of what it would confirm. During those 2 weeks, my mother called once. Serena, we heard from your Aunt Carol that you were in some kind of accident. If that's true, you should have told us. Anyway, call us back, we need to finalize Christmas. I deleted the message. My father emailed 3 days later. There's apparently a legal issue with your grandfather's estate that needs to be discussed. Some attorney in Asheville is claiming you're listed as a beneficiary. This is clearly a misunderstanding and we should sort it out as a family. I read it twice, then closed it. On December 14th, just before 11 at night, I finally opened the box. Inside, a gold watch. Vintage. Hamilton. The leather strap dark with decades of wear. I knew it the moment I saw it. He'd let me hold it when I was 8 years old, sitting on his lap in his living room in Asheville. 4 generations, Serena, he'd said. My grandfather wore it. My father. Me. Someday it'll be yours. I turned it over. Engraved on the back, in careful script. For Serena, who was never alone. Grandpa Harold. November 2022. November 2022. The month he died. Underneath the watch, a 6-page letter in shaky blue handwriting on cream paper. A USB drive. A stack of sealed envelopes. And a business card. I started reading the letter. My dearest Serena, if you're reading this, I'm gone. But I need you to know I never left. Your father cut me out of your life when you were 12. I had told him he was hurting you, comparing you to Brielle every day, making you feel like you'd never be enough. He told me to stay out of his family. I told him you were my family too. That was the last time I was allowed in your life. Every birthday. Every Christmas. Every graduation. I wrote. I called. I sent gifts. Your parents made sure you received none of it. The cards came back, marked return to sender. I saved every one. My attorney Marcus has them now. When you got into nursing school, I set up a trust. $65,000. I wanted to make sure you could follow your dream without debt. Your father told you it was a family loan. It wasn't. It was my love in the only form they couldn't intercept. I've been watching from a distance, not to intrude, but to know you were safe. I hired an investigative firm to monitor only public records. Police reports. Hospital admissions. When something serious happened, Marcus would be notified. I'm dying now, Serena. Pancreatic cancer, stage 4. I tried calling your father to ask if I could see you one last time. He said you were too busy. I understand. You're a nurse. You're saving lives. But Judy, if you ever wondered why I disappeared, it wasn't because I stopped loving you. It was because they wouldn't let me. I'm leaving you my house, my savings, and this watch, the one I tried to teach you to read when you were 8. I want you to remember, the second hand never stops. Just like my love for you, never stopped. You were never the problem, Serena. You were always worth everything. Grandpa Harold. I read that letter 9 times before dawn. By the 9th time I wasn't crying. I was clear. The USB drive had 3 folders. The first, 79 emails my grandfather had sent my father from 2009 to 2022. Birthdays, graduations, medical school acceptance. 3 with replies. The last one, dated the 9th of November 2022, 2 weeks before Harold died, my grandfather begging to see me one last time. My father's reply. She's busy. Don't contact us again. The second folder. 31 scanned birthday and Christmas cards. Each stamped return to sender. Each one addressed to me at my parents' house. Inside one, visible through the envelope window. Happy 17th birthday, Serena. I miss you every single day. Grandpa. The third folder. 3 audio files. In the first, recorded on my 15th birthday, his voice warm and unhurried. Hi, Serena. It's Grandpa Harold. You probably won't get this message, but I wanted you to know I'm thinking of you. 15 years old. Your grandmother would have loved who you're becoming. In the second, when I got into nursing school. Sweetheart, I am so proud of you. I set up a little fund with Marcus. It'll reach the school directly. Show up as a grant. Don't worry about paying it back. This is my gift. For your future. In the third, his voice raw, raspy, sick. Serena, I don't have much time. The cancer has moved. I called your dad. I begged him to let me see you just once more. He said you were too busy. Maybe that's true. It's been 13 years. You were just a kid. I've been watching, sweetheart. I know you work nights. I know you stay late to sit with the children who don't have anyone. I know you're kind. I know you're everything I always believed you'd be. I'm sorry I didn't fight harder to stay. You were never the problem. Never. I love you, Serena. Until my last breath and beyond. I called his attorney the next morning. Marcus Webb. Asheville, North Carolina. He'd been waiting. He walked me through everything. Harold passed the 23rd of November 2022. Will filed December 4th. My father notified certified mail. Signed for January 2023. 2 follow-up letters. All signed for. None passed along. My father had known about my inheritance for nearly 2 years. He never said a word. What did my grandfather leave me? His house in Asheville appraised at $590,000. Investment accounts totaling $380,000. The education trust, already spent on tuition, my parents told me was a loan. A life insurance policy adding $95,000. Personal property, including the watch, total, just over $1 million. My father received nothing. By design. Christmas Day, 2025. I drove to Asheville. I arrived at 4:15. 14 people already there. My parents, Brielle and her husband, cousins, aunts. The grandfather clock in the hallway. I was wearing Harold's watch. Brielle noticed immediately. Is that Grandpa's? Yes. He left it to me. Dad said there was no will. Dad lied. After dessert, when everyone was gathered in the living room, I set the USB drive, the letter, and the bank statements on the coffee table. I want to share something, I said. A letter from Grandpa Harold. He wrote it 3 weeks before he died. None of you told me he was dying. My mother's face went white. Serena. This isn't... He had pancreatic cancer, stage 4. He tried to reach Dad to ask if I could visit before he died. Dad said I was too busy. I looked around the room. My Aunt Carol had her hand over her mouth. I read the letter aloud. Then I connected my phone to the living room speaker and played the third voicemail. Harold's voice, weak, shaking, completely unmistakable, filled the room. I'm sorry I wasn't there. I love you, Serena. Until my last breath. And beyond. 4 minutes and 38 seconds. When it ended, the only sound was the grandfather clock. Tick, tick, tick. I turned to my parents. On November 27th, I was in a car accident. The doctor called you. He told you I had nearly 1 liter of blood in my chest. Do you remember what you said? My mother's hands were shaking. You said, "We'll come if it gets worse." You had 14 people coming to dinner. Silence so complete I could hear someone breathing. I woke up alone in the ICU. 0 visitors. But Grandpa came. His attorney did, following instructions Harold left before he died. Watching over me even after he was gone. He paid my hospital bill. $108,000. A man who'd been dead 3 years, cared more about whether I lived than my own parents. I put the probate documents on the table. You were notified of this inheritance in January 2023. You knew for 2 years. You never told me. You let me keep paying back a loan that was never a loan. My father stood up. Serena, you don't understand the full. Grandpa left me his house, his savings, this watch, and the truth about everything you did. I placed an envelope on the table. Inside, 1 sentence. The house is mine. The watch is mine. The money is mine. And I'm done pretending you're my family. I looked at my sister. I don't blame you, Brielle. But I need you to understand what happened here. I turned to the room. If any of you want the full picture, Marcus Webb's number is on that card. He has everything. 15 years of evidence. I turned to my parents one last time. You told me Grandpa forgot about me. That he moved on. That he didn't care. I held up my wrist. He never stopped. I walked to the door. Didn't slam it. Just closed it softly. Behind me I could hear my mother crying. Voices rising. Chairs scraping against hardwood. I didn't look back. The watch kept ticking. The fallout came fast. My father emailed accusing Harold of mental instability, claiming they were protecting me from manipulation. I blocked him. My mother texted from a new number. Your father is having chest pains from the stress. Is this what you wanted? I blocked that too. But Aunt Carol called. And 2 cousins. And Brielle. 3 days later, 8-minute voicemail. Voice breaking. Judy, I didn't know. I swear. I'm so sorry. I want to do better. I didn't call back right away. But I saved the message. On January 9th, I moved into Harold's house on Meriwether Lane in Asheville. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a view of the Blue Ridge Mountains from the back porch. His books were still on the shelves. A photograph of him and my grandmother on the mantel. The grandfather clock in the hallway. Still ticking. I unpacked slowly. Put my books next to his. Stood on the back porch in the cold January air and looked out at those mountains. And felt something I hadn't felt in a very long time. Safe. That same week, I met with Marcus Webb. I want to create a scholarship fund, I said. The Harold Calloway Memorial Scholarship. For nursing students who are estranged from their families. Students who've had to find their way without a safety net. How much to start? $90,000. The fund launched January 15th, managed through the Community Foundation of Western North Carolina. 3 to 5 scholarships per year. Ranging from $6,000 to $12,000. Priority for students in foster care. Students who've been cut off by their families. Students working night shifts to pay their way through school. The first recipient was Dominique Hayes, 19 years old. Family cut her off when she refused to drop out of college to care for a younger sibling. Living with a friend, working 2 jobs. Accepted to the nursing program at UNC Asheville for fall 2026. I met her at a coffee shop downtown. My parents said I wasn't capable enough, she told me. That I was too emotional to be a nurse. I smiled. Sensitive people make the best nurses, I said. We feel when patients are frightened. We stay when it's hard. Don't let anyone turn that into a weakness. The local paper ran a story. It ended with a quote from me. My grandfather taught me that family isn't who shares your blood. It's who shows up when you need them. This scholarship is for students who learned that the hard way and kept going anyway. Donations started coming in that same day. Brielle donated $500 in Harold's name. She texted, I saw the article. He would be so proud. I want to do better. Can we get coffee sometime? I wrote back. Maybe. I need more time. But maybe. On January 22nd, I went back to work. Night shift. Children's National. 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. My first night back, I had 4 patients. One was a 7-year-old girl named Chloe. Appendectomy that afternoon. Parents in the middle of a custody dispute. Dad hadn't shown up. Mom was stuck at her own nursing shift across town. Couldn't get there until morning. At 11:15 p.m., I went into Chloe's room. She was awake. Scared. Monitors beeping in the dark. Where's my mommy? I sat down beside her bed. She's on her way, sweetheart. She'll be here first thing in the morning. But I'm here right now. My name is Serena. I'm your nurse. Are you going to leave? Not until your mom walks through that door. I promise. She looked at my wrist. That's a pretty watch. Thank you. I smiled. It belonged to my grandfather. He gave it to me to remind me that someone is always keeping time for the people they love. See that second hand? It never stops. Just like I won't leave you tonight. Can you stay till I fall asleep? Of course. I pulled a chair close. Held her hand. Read from the book on the bedside table until her breathing slowed and her grip softened and she was somewhere safe and quiet. I stayed in that chair. I looked down at the watch. The second hand moved. Tick, tick, tick. My parents said they'd come if I died. My grandfather came, even when they'd made certain he couldn't. And what I learned in that hospital room on Thanksgiving 2025. What I'm still learning. Sitting in the house Harold left me, wearing the watch he kept for 50 years until he could put it in my hands, is this. Family isn't who shows up when you're dying. It's who makes sure you never feel alone while you're living. The man in the black jacket taught me that. Through 15 years of silence. Through birthday cards sent back unopened. Through voicemails that never reached me. Through a trust fund they disguised as a debt. Through a will that said, you were loved. You are loved. You were never the problem. And now, every time I look at this watch, I remember, I was loved when I didn't know it. I was protected when I couldn't see it. I was never, ever, alone. None of them came to that hospital on Thanksgiving. But I'm still here, and that is enough. If this story stayed with you, if it reminded you of someone you love, or someone who loved you quietly from a distance, please like and leave a comment. Tell me where you're watching from. Tell me what time it is. Tell me if you have someone like Harold in your life. I read every single one. Every single one. Every single one.